Alright, what's going on, guys? So if you guys have been following me, you know I have two of these cars. I have a 51 Plymouth and then I have a 52 Plymouth. The 52 I paid a couple $100 for. It had a locked up engine. It's a pretty rough car, but we were unsuccessful at getting the engine to turn over. The 51, I had my neighbor knock on my door. He gave me the car for free. Really nice guy. And that had a locked up engine. If you guys haven't watched it, go back on my channel. Matter of fact, I'll put a link up in the corner right here. That engine we were able to get to spin over and freed up. I've been working on that car. I'm going to put out a video on it. But the 52 Plymouth, I want to go ahead and pull the engine out and do a breakdown video so you guys can see what was causing the engine to be froze. Was it the piston rings? Was it the valves? Was it a froze crankshaft? So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to get this motor broken all the way apart so we can see what was causing it to be seized. And I'm actually going to use the parts off of this car to build the 51. We're going to do some sort of a rat rod build. I'm leaning toward rat rod taxi, but I need the rear fenders off of this car and I need the transmission, which on the last video I actually moved the transmission over to the 51 to see if it'll drive. Stay tuned. We're going to get this thing yanked out and hopefully it comes apart all in one piece. So I'm going to be using this transmission on the free 1951 Plymouth. So before I break this engine down, I'm going to go ahead and take the transmission off of it. On the Will It Run video that I made on this car, I believe y'all saw me use PB Blaster, ATF, the Works toilet bowl cleaner. I used heat and a few other things. What y'all didn't see, I ended up using hydrochloric acid since the pistons are aluminum. But what I did was I neutralized the acid with baking soda, I sucked it out, and what you're seeing in the cylinders right there is vinegar. So nothing's besides vinegar and is pouring out. The acid was neutralized and it was contained, but I was getting pretty desperate to the point where I was using a muriatic acid, hoping that it was the pistons and maybe it would soften the aluminum a little and get it to shake loose. So I went ahead and started out by throwing the engine on the ground and removing the fan and the water pump. Surprisingly, everything came off really easy without any penetrating fluid. Alright, so this oil pan was so bad that I was able to, when I drained the oil, just to stick a screwdriver through the bottom of the pan and it just stabbed right through. It was so rusted out. Somebody definitely hit the pan really hard. They must have hit a curb or something. Oh no. Bearing is completely missing. Yeah. Running when parked. Bull. So out of all 6 of these bearings, only this rear bearing was torn apart. I mean, it was completely missing and the crank is all torn up. The rest of the 5, they looked fine. They were smooth. There wasn't any wear marks on them. So for some reason, this rear bearing, it must have had, the passage was plugged or something. So this is when things got really sketchy. When I went to drive these pistons out, I was able to get the first piston out, And you'll see here in a second, the top of the second piston broke off. I mean, it was really froze, and I was actually unsuccessful at getting any of the other pistons removed at all. After about an hour or so of heat and penetrating fluid, I gave up on those pistons and went ahead and removed the timing cover to see what the chain looked like. Nothing too crazy in here. It's relatively clean. There's a little bit of slop in the chain. Well, scratch that. A lot of slop in the chain. So now that the timing chain is removed, you can see that the crankshaft is actually free and spinning on the main bearings.
It was the camshaft. The camshaft was locking it up. You know, our crank is bad, or it needs to be at least resurfaced, sent to the machine shop. Our valves all need to be replaced. The stems are completely rusted out. But after I took the timing chain off, our main lockup, multiple valves were seized. So there you have it, a stuck camshaft.
So on this particular engine, I'm not going to be building it. It's just too far gone. I really don't want to have to deal with any damage that I do to the cylinder walls, and having the crankshaft surfaced. And I'm sure the camshaft needs resurfaced, and getting those valves out. I mean, it's probably going to be, the more I dig, the more I'm going to find. Usually you can pick one of these little 218 flatheads up for $100, $150, but there's a lot of good parts on here. You know, the timing cover is good, the intake manifold, the exhaust manifold, you know, the flywheel. You know, I removed the starter, the valve covers. So I'll end up finding an engine one day, or maybe a car that's missing a few parts, and I could always swap over parts from this onto that, and then I'll just leave the bare block and send it to a classic car salvage yard, and maybe somebody will be brave enough to try to rebuild it. But I have been doing work on the 51 Cranbrook. We're going to go ahead and make that thing a daily driver. Hopefully I'm going to put a video out next week, an update on that car, and I'm thinking that we can get it on the road by next week. I had a lot of people asking for an update on the locked up 52, and some people had actually asked if I would break it down, so here's the breakdown on it. But y'all stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. I have a lot of cool things in the making. I got the 51 rat rod we're going to do. We have the 55 Plymouth wagon that we're going to be swapping a 318 5.2 Magnum V8 in it from a 95 Dodge Ram and an automatic transmission. And then we still have the 1985 D150 with the 318 in it. And we're going to see if we can save that old pickup truck too. As always, thanks for watching, and stay greasy.
kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry.